welcome to the Lighthouse with a new episode. My name is Mari Curtano and I'm here with Rajaa Faour, who is going to share her amazing story on how she was diagnosed and she was given 6 months to live. However, 6 years later, she's still here with us and she will share her story on how she healed herself. Welcome, Rajaa. I'm really excited to have you and thank you for joining. And I'm excited to hear all about this story because it was fascinating to me. This must have been some incredible challenge for you to go through.
It was quite a journey.
Yeah. Please go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and you can start to share with everyone this amazing story.
So today, I'm a transformational coach helping ambitious Arabic women to ditch exhaustion, anxiety, burnout, and get to live the life that they want. And most of it's to manifest a life that is aligned with their highest self. This is how I feel that we get the life that we really desire. It's by up-leveling this way instead of forcing and pushing and hustling. Get to leave this hustling culture a bit.
Yes, yes.
And so what led me to do this today is all the challenges that I've been through, especially that specific journey. Because so what happened is that 6 years ago, I was an HR director. At the same time, I was an HR consultant, and I was like, the ambitious hustling type of woman doing 100 things at a time, running everywhere, taking care of everything, having all the responsibilities. I have 2 kids, so taking care of the kids, be it school activities, everything, the house, the financials, even helping my husband in his work, like plus my job. So, and I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll do it. I was like, what you say, like the yes woman doing everything. But that I've learned it the hard way that kills you. And I can't find better ways to do it, like to say it. It does really kills you. So I was having a lot of migraines. I started taking medication, and the migraines were just going like, it was getting worse and worse and worse. Like before it was 2 days in a month, then it was a whole week, then it was every single week. And so then the medication that I took, it ended up causing me breath issues. So I developed asthma because of that medication. So I decided at some point, like, there must be something. And my dad is known for his migraines. So the doctors were telling me this is genetics. It's normal. And I was like, no, it's not normal. And it cannot be genetics. Something within me, like, this intuition, this gut feeling was telling me like that's not it. And you'll be able to heal yourself from that, but you've got to go deeper.
Yes.
And so I started the journey on this. I've read every single book I found about holistic healing and doctors talking about like how you can heal from migraines and stuff, but I wasn't really getting it. Like I didn't really have results. And
I wanted to ask you a quick question before we move from the subject. You mentioned that you were taking some medication which caused you to have, they had some side effects, obviously. So would you like to share with us?
Which one?
And did the doctor prescribe it to you, or it was just the over-the-counter?
No, it's the doctor prescription. And I know they prescribe it a lot to people. It's the naproxen.
Oh, yes, I do. For a headache? Interesting. Okay.
And I know that they prescribe it a lot.
I think it's a good piece of information for people to be aware that it can have some side effects.
Totally. Actually, any medication we take will have some side effects. And the doctor was telling me like, in the beginning, she was like, it's impossible, you have asthma. Like, no one, like, it cannot be even genetic. Like, no one in my family has it. Like, where is it coming from? And when she looked at the medication, there's a very, very, very small percentage that you would develop it, but I did.
Were you
So
taking it for a long
this,
time?
yes,
Mm.
yes. Like, I would say, like, for about 6 month period, I was taking it almost every single week because I had migraines. Like, migraines at that time, it was part of my daily life.
I understand.
And it's crazy to live this way. Like, today I reflect on that. I was like, I don't even recognize that version of me. Like, this is what was
Yeah,
that?
of course.
You
So
know?
many people can relate, I'm sure, with that.
Yeah. So I stopped taking that medication. My doctor didn't want me to stop, but I decided to stop. And I don't recommend that to anyone. I'm just sharing my story. So I don't want anyone to listen to this and say, like, I'm going to stop all my medication.
Of course.
Don't do that. Like, check your condition, talk with your doctors, see what fits really for you. And I think it's very important to tap into our intuition and listen to ourselves, not just listen to what we should be doing, but listen really to ourselves. Because there's a big difference between what we're told we should be doing and what's the right thing for us to do.
Yeah.
For me, I took that decision to stop it completely. Following that, I was continuing my hustling mode, going from one meeting to another and being always running after time. That was my daily thing. And one day I had a huge car accident. There's a huge truck who hit me from the back. I was on a stop waiting to get on a highway. And it was really, it was very bad, very, very bad.
Oh dear.
So because of the way I was living my life at that time, which meant that it was really chaos in my mind, and I didn't know that it was chaos in my mind at that time. Even after that accident, I took the car to the garage. I had a Mercedes at that time. I took it to Mercedes. They gave me another car, and I went back to work. Okay?
Wow, you are like
Crazy.
a Wonder Woman kind of. This
Yeah, I
storyline.
went back to work, and I know a lot, like, so many ambitious women do that, and we think like it's okay, like we're over this, like it's fine, it's gonna be fine, and we
Did you not have any
minimize
scratches?
things.
Nothing? You just came out of the accident like nothing happened to you?
No, yeah, it didn't look like anything happened. But my head have hitten the wheel and like front and back. But I was like, it's gonna be okay. Like, it's probably just the shock after the accident. It's fine. Didn't went to see a doctor, didn't do anything, just took the car to the garage, took another car, went back to work. And so after about an hour or so at work, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. Like, I asked for to leave, and they were like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I just had a car accident." I was like, "What are you doing here?" Of course, leave. You know.
Wow.
So I went home, and it started. Just migraines got so much worse, and everything started becoming so much worse, and I didn't know what it was. Went to see the doctor, did brain scans, all kind of scans. She didn't know. Then she said, well, start physiotherapy. I was like, okay, I don't know what physiotherapy gonna do, but let's try it. I tried physiotherapy, nothing happened. Ergotherapy, nothing happened. And I was like, there's something, because I felt like I was living on a cloud. When my head felt like it was always on the cloud. I was like out of balance all the time. When I'm driving, it was scary for me to drive. So I started having anxiety. I had panic attacks. I didn't trust myself to take care of myself because I felt like my whole body is not in alignment.
Yes.
And so one day she said and that went for many months, like about 6 months like that. And I was still going to work with all of these going through. And so many days, like I would push myself to work the whole week and take care of the kids and everything. And on the weekend, I was like, I was so sick. I would just stay in bed. I was like, I don't want anyone to talk to me. And actually, what I realized later on, it was that I was actually making myself sick to be able to say no. Wow. And this is why I find, like, now in my coaching, I put a lot of emphasis on boundaries and self-love, because when you're not capable of loving yourself enough to say no, you're going to create disease in your body. Your body's going to create disease that will make you say no. Yes. Because that will be a good reason to say no, you know? So we've got to be very, very careful with that. And so eventually what happens that my doctor decided to send me to see a neurologist. Mm-hmm. And I was okay. So I did another scan, brain scan. I went to see the neurologist. And at that time, I was at a stage where I was not really driving because it felt so bad and I was getting so anxious driving that my dad took me to that appointment. Mm-hmm. And he was waiting outside for me. I went to see the doctor. He examined me, looked at the brain scans, like pictures and stuff, asked me a few questions. And then he said, I don't know how to tell you this, but I've seen so many cases like this. And you have about 6 months left. What? And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, I see that you have about 6 months. Eventually you're going to start losing like the capacity of like sensations in your hands, legs, whatever. And then it's about 6 months for the process. And I was like, what? No way. I was so in shock. I was just looking at him. And I went out. And I think my dad just saw my face. I went out of his office and was like, what's going on? I was like, it's okay, it's fine. I need to see another doctor. And I didn't want to talk to my dad about what happened.
You didn't tell your dad?
Not at that time. Not at that time. I told him later on, but not at the moment.
Did the doctor diagnose you with anything, or he just said you have 6 months to live and that's it?
He said the name of what was the diagnosis, and very honestly, of course, I don't even remember it. I think like it was such a shock for me that I kind of blanked. The memory like I just didn't remember what was that. It was like, I cannot accept that. I was really not accepting that diagnosis. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we left and I took a couple of days reflection on, you know, what he told me, on my life, on how I was living my life, and reflecting on if I truly have 6 months left. Is this the way I want to continue living my life? Like with migraines, pushing, forcing all the time, doing everything for anyone and everyone. And like, am I enjoying? Am I happy? And I realized I was really unhappy, unfulfilled. I love my job as an HR. I used to love working as an HR, but I wasn't happy where I was. I decided to make some changes within me.
So that moment when you found out that you may have 6 months to live, even though you didn't want to accept it, you were avoiding, didn't really want to believe it, which is so normal, and I'm sure anyone would be the same, you know, would react the same way. But it gave you the awareness of going back and looking over your life and making some shifts. Isn't it interesting how accidents and things like that can come in the way of our life to invite us to pause and become aware of some things, right?
And I feel like God sends us messages all the time, but we need to listen. And I remember one day at work after that diagnosis happened, and one of the, because I was working in an engineering company, and we were sending a lot of people like expats working in minings and stuff like that. So he was coming back from his 2 weeks on site, coming back to the office, and we had a chat discussing on like how was it for work related. And then he asked me, he said, "How are you doing?" I was like, "I'm not sure. Like, I had a very bad car accident and a lot of things are shifting." And he looked at me, he said, "Raja, it doesn't always happen it's not an accident." And I looked at him and I was like, tell me more, you know? I was interested of knowing more of what he had to say. And he said, um, everyone here sees how hard you work. Like if there's a question or whatever, we know we have to go see you. Like you're the one taking care of so many things. But who's taking care of you? It's probably a sign that you need to stop. And I took it as a message. It was hard to listen to in the beginning because it went directly into, like, it triggered me. There was a lot of truth in what he said. And at the same time, I was like, okay, it is a message, and it's about time that I start listening to the messages. So, yeah, God sent us a lot of messages. And I know when I reflected, I had so many messages before that car accident that I didn't listen to. So that was kind of, I felt like this is a big one. And if you don't listen now and start doing it now, God knows what's the biggest challenge that's going to happen after. So, yeah, so I decided to make real changes with myself. And I started to do, like, I took coaching, I did some mentoring, and it's all, you've got to work within. So I started having boundaries. Learning to say no was a huge deal for me.
I'm sure, as it
was
is
a
for many
huge
people.
thing.
Yes.
So learning to say no and feel good about it, not feeling guilty, because you don't want to go into self-criticism and self-judgment after, you know, you don't want to judge yourself because that's worse. I've never been taught to love myself. And I didn't really know what I liked. Like, what do Raja like? What do I love having? And what kind of environment I like being? What kind of decoration in the house I like to have? And so I started these shifts to this. It was like discovering me.
Yes. So you were doing this in between. I mean, the doctor gave you the diagnosis and whatever he said that you only have 6 months to live, and you took some time off work and you started to work on yourself, and you started to make these shifts and look within and start to understand yourself more, and even realize that maybe you didn't know how to love yourself, right?
Totally. And then I got another doctor's appointment with another neurologist. And he told me that I have a kyst in the brain. And he wasn't sure really if it was something that I had for long or not, if it was implicated. It has anything to do with the condition that the other doctors thought I had. And so he told me, we're not going to do any surgery, but I'm not the expert of this. I'm going to send you to another neurologist. I was like, okay, fine. And he sent me to do another brain scan. Like in total, I think I did like probably 6 brain scans. Wow. I was like fed up of doing brain scans in a very short period of time, like in about 2 months.
Wow.
So, and I think that because I listened to the message, things started to work for me, even though I didn't really see it, because the neurologist that he sent me to see, he was retired. He was like 75 years old, retired neurologist who came back from his retirement. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. And I got an appointment with him within like a week. It's, wow. I find like some stuff are real miracles.
It happened very quickly for you. Everything aligned.
So quickly. So I went to see him and I was talking to him and I discussed like what happened and the migraines that I have and all of that. And he didn't prescribe me any medication. He told me just to take notes of when I have my migraines and think of what was the situation before. I was like, okay, fine. And I didn't really pay attention at that in the beginning, but like why I'm going to do this. But I said, okay, he's asking me to do this. I'm going to do it. So I did it. And 2 weeks later, I went to see him. And he said, well, how is it? I was like, you know what? It's been like about 4 or 5 days, almost a week that I didn't have any migraines. And he was like, do you miss it?
Oh, interesting question.
Very interesting question. I was like, what?
And what did you answer?
No, I was shocked. I was like, I miss it. No, I don't think I don't miss it. And I was like, why are you surprised that you're not having it? Like, it's not there. Just let it go. Release it. Let it go, you know? And so with him, I learned that this is where I really grasped it, that I was creating my migraines. I was creating my sicknesses. Not consciously, unconsciously, yes, because I didn't want to say no, because I didn't felt worthy of having like the love or attention and all the things that I had if I was not giving like 1,000 times whatever I thought I need to be giving, so I would feel worthy. And
you didn't give yourself permission. You were not giving yourself permission to say no unless you were ill very poorly. So that was the only way for you to allow yourself to say no.
Was the only valuable reason.
It makes so much sense when you think of it that way.
With that doctor, he asked me another personal question, and it got me into reflecting on my relationships as well. And I saw him the third time, kind of wrapped up a bit, and then he retired again.
Wow.
So I was like, and when I knew, because I called back, I wanted to see him another time, and they told me, well, he left for his retirement for good this time. And I was like, oh my God. And I really saw it as a sign that, like, as if God sent me that person to give me the message, put me on the path so I can do the real work myself. And from that time, like, I started doing a lot of affirmations. Loving myself I created my own practice on how to love myself. And I started doing meditation for myself, for my children's as well. And I know that I've impacted their life, because when you're not sick anymore, when you're not anxious anymore, you're not projecting that on your kids. They see that, you know, the normal life is being healthy, full of vitality, is being happy, is being joyful, is loving yourself. It's okay to do mistakes. You don't have to be perfect. When they see this, they get to live a much healthier life, you know? And so this is how I started. This is how, and everything started shifting for me. Like, I changed jobs. I got into an executive HR position, which in the beginning I thought, if I go into an executive position, I need to work more, push more, force more, you know, hustle more. It was completely the opposite. Like, I had a blast being an executive HR. It was easy, fun. I enjoyed it. So it's all in the way that we see things. It's all in the way how we feel about things. And for myself, I can talk, like in my journey, I realized we talk a lot about mindset. Mindset is important. However, emotions, they're not talked about a lot. And what really creates all the conditions that we have is our emotions. And sometimes when the emotions are really, really big, like they're strong, you can try to change your thoughts as much as you want. The emotion do not change because it's very strong. So you've got to work on the emotion, not on the logic or what seems logic. And that I learned it the hard way. And, all things about energy is life. I remember I used to go train when I started getting better and all of that. I used to go to the gym and I took a trainer. And I used to always ask her, how can I get more energy? How can I get more energy? I was like, I train and I feel tired all the time. I don't get it. How can I get more energy? And it's not about diets. It's not about like any protein bars or whatever. It's all about a positive attitude that you have and the emotions that you live in. So you can go train as much as you want, diet as much as you want, but if most of your time you're living in anxiousness, in frustration, in guilt, in shame, in resentment, you're not going to get energy. You're not going to get prosperity. You're not going to get abundance. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to get joy in your life, for sure, because these are the emotions you'll be living in. And yeah, so that was really the process for me. And my doctor wanted me to do another brain scan. I decided not to do it. I was like, I feel good. I'm fine. I don't need to.
And so the migraines have stopped after a while, or what happened?
It diminished a lot. But like I used to have like migraines probably like one day before my periods. It was kind of related to my periods at some point. And today I don't have, like, I might experience a brief headache, but I don't have migraines like I used to have. And when I have a headache, I know it's because something I've done, and I go back, adjust what I have to adjust, So today I pay close attention to illnesses, to whatever happens, because I discovered it's all negative energy trapped in our body. Our emotions create our energy, and these low vibrational emotions will create negative energy, and it doesn't leave our body. Even though we go on other tasks in our life and we do a lot of things, but that energy stays trapped in our body.
Yes.
And so it continue impacting our body on a cellular level, and it start creating disease, which eventually will appear. So when I have something that happens, I know that I have some, negative energy trapped. And I do a process of cleaning that negative energy. Like I took coachings and trainings into chakra cleaning and all that. So I do it for myself. I clean my chakras, my energy, and I do a lot of journaling and reflecting on, is there something I need to forgive myself about? Am I judging myself? Am I too hard on myself on this or on that? Because for me, it wasn't about forgiving others. It's very easy for me to forgive everyone, no matter what they do. I'm like, I wish them all the best. And, I just let go. But I'm very hard on myself. Forgiving myself is hard. Was hard. Today, I'm okay with that. But it was very hard at some point to forgive myself. the judgmental and the critic in my head was very loud. So I had to, you know, turn that voice down.
Good. And well, I'm glad you did. Wow, this is such an incredible story. Like you were literally running on fumes and just, you know, 200% of your energy. And eventually life came, like you said, over time, when we don't pay attention to the signs that come along the way, life will strike a bolt, as I like to call it, and will create life crisis in the form of accidents, illnesses, conditions that will compel us to stop, pause, and start to pay attention. I like to call them divine intervention because I believe this is what has happened in your case. And even though the doctor told you that you have 6 months to live, maybe that was the key for you to begin and shift some things about your life, some tendencies, some behaviors that were getting you to exhaustion. And it's interesting how you take that inner journey after something outside is, you know, pointing you in the opposite direction. And I'm really glad that you did, because this is encouraging. And when people have symptoms, physical symptoms, especially, because I believe the physical symptoms are also like the last resort for our body, for the energies, for the universe to let us know you have to pay attention. And that is when you start to dive in and look, turn the other way around and do the work like you did. You started to, it was obviously new to you. You started to dive into this self-discovery journey.
And, you know, we either change and decide to do the change by ourselves, or life will make us do the change. Because, you know, when you're not up leveling, you're shrinking. So we're never staying the same. Like when I was hustling all the time, I was always like pushing, wanted to get better, but I'll have like 1 step forward and 3 steps back. Like it was always in that pushing and forcing mode.
And how would you say it's changed now?
Oh, it's completely different. It's a flow.
It's a flow. Yes.
Today it's a flow. It's not pushing anymore. It's you really like, I feel I really flow with life, and I found my purpose through this inner work. I hear so many people telling me like, I want to know what's my purpose. I know I have something more to give, but I don't know what it is. I'm like, stop looking outside. It's within you. So you've got to start working on you and take off these layers so you can find out what's your purpose. But as long as we're focused on the outside, we don't find it, you know? And one of the things that this whole journey for me gave me is that I just didn't care anymore about what people would say, would not say. And some will tell me, how do you do this? I was like, I've been through a lot of rough stuff in my life, so I just don't care what you might think. Because what's important for me is what I'm doing. I know I'm doing the right thing and I'm aligned with it and I'm good with it.
Yes.
After that, people might like, people might not like. That's fine. It's their own decision with their perception based on their experience, on their belief. It's none of my business.
Yeah, that's a powerful message. That's a powerful message.
It takes a load out, you know, off you. It takes a huge heaviness and load out of your shoulders. Like, I feel like before, I used to have a bunch of monkeys on my shoulders.
I like that analogy.
I had a boss in the past who used to say, like, whenever he wanted to give me something, like he had something to do, but he would give it to me. It was like, the monkey's on your shoulder now. It's not on mine anymore. Like, you have to deal with it. And I feel like at that time I had so many monkeys on my shoulders, like it was so heavy. And today I have none. So you feel so much lighter and so much better. And when we are in this hustling culture and living in that state all the time, we are craving to have calm and relaxed time. But at the same time, when you get the moment where you can relax, you're not comfortable with it because it's not familiar anymore. It's so uncomfortable and we just want to get out of it. And we go like finding so many tasks to do to keep us busy. This is so bad because this is what's keeping you from your purpose, from the right path for you, from listening to the right messages that will make you up level, you know? Yeah. And you don't realize it when you're in it. You just don't.
Yeah, that is why you need the universe is always sending you messages through the people around you, to circumstances. It's harder for you to see it when you are in it. That's why you have guides, you have friends, you have family, you have coaches, you have people who can help you with that. So Rajaa, I want to ask you something, which is something that I ask my guests. If someone is listening to us that is, let's say, the exact old version of you and is listening right now, what would you tell them?
I will tell them to start believing in themselves, to really know that they have greatness within them. And everything that they want, the healing, the abundance, the manifestation of the life they want, they can have it all. But they need to work on themselves. They need to start doing the work that they know they need to do, but they're avoiding. And reach for help.
Yes.
Reach for help from people that, not from, people reach for help sometimes because you just want to have someone telling us, it's going to be okay, don't worry. This is not help. This gets you stuck where you are.
Yes. There is a time to support and hold space for someone, but then you need someone that can also take you to the next level. And depending on where you are, I guess this is something I had a conversation with someone else about this. Actually, it was a therapist, and we were talking about this very thing, that sometimes people need someone to tell them that it's okay, and you support them. But then, like you said just now, you can easily get stuck in that space because it's not going to help you move past the problem. So you need support, you need to recover, to heal, and then also move to the next level and be able to enjoy and embrace the life that you deserve and the life that you want.
Yeah,
that's wonderful. Is there anything else you would like to share with the listeners before we wrap this?
Well, I would say just so important to tap into self-love. Like, love yourself, adore yourself, because it is the foundation of all healing. And from there, you can create anything that you want, but start loving yourself. Like, I love looking myself in the mirror in the morning and just say, I love you. What can I do for you today? How can I support you today? What is one thing you want from me? Being there for yourself and supporting yourself is crucial on your journey.
And thank you for this, because you were saying that you realized that you didn't love yourself so much throughout your journey. And therefore, this is one important thing that helped you shift your energy and helped you shift into that healing mode. Because I know that healing cannot exist in an environment of fear, of stress, of guilt, of all these toxic emotions and low vibrations, but they can only exist in an environment of love, where we feel love within ourselves and we feel inner peace and harmony because of that love.
And manifestation only happen in these high vibrational emotions as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people want to manifest things in their life, but they have hatred toward themselves. And so they're like, it's not working. It's normal. You've got to love yourself first. So my message would be to really start loving yourself now, and don't care about what people would say, if they think it's vanity or narcissism or whatever. Just be kind to you, be gentle to you, be compassionate to you, be supportive to you. That's what really matters. Be there for you first. And then you can be there for others as well. It's not one or the other. You can do both, but be there for you.
Yeah, that's very important. Thank you so much, Raja. This was really wonderful. And I have a feeling we have more to share. So we'll definitely do another episode sometime soon again. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope this has managed to shine a light of hope and awareness on your path. I am going to put Raja's details below this video so that you can have her contact details in case you want to reach out to her. In the meantime, stay tuned for more on the Lighthouse coming soon. Take care.